I am your host, Devon, and you are listening to another episode of Center of the Sun podcast. Thank you for listening. How can you confirm that anything is actually true? I just saw this clip of Drake on Twitter. He is at a party, apparently, literally being asked, who invited you? Like, what? I don't know who the motherfucker was. And it must have been a cheap-ass, rent-a-cop looking-ass, mall cop looking-ass security team someone found under a fucking rock, because how can you not know who the light-skinned poppy is? Well, he's not actually light-skinned. Or he's mixed, I guess. I don't know. But he's not Hispanic. He's not a poppy. Hotline Bling. Hotline Bling made him mainstream, I guess. I don't know. Apple even gave Drake a era on iTunes called Post Drake R&B. Like, I've respected him ever since I saw that, like in 2008. But I guess he insulted Nicki Minaj once, so he's canceled apparently, and people are being mean to him in public. I'm like, how dare you? I'm Greta Thunberg or whatever her name is. How dare you in this bitch? How dare you? Think about your ancestors. Think about your elders. Don't be mean to Drake. Even though he was mean to Nicki Minaj. So the barbs are out, I guess. I don't care. It's funny though, but don't be mean to Drake. She apparently has reach, so it is what it is. His public appearances lately have been abysmal. Concerts, parties, he's being booed, he's being asked to leave. No, actually, I didn't witness any of these things, but I could assume that much. Party culture has gotten out of fucking hand. Party culture, like, I just went to Walmart, I just saw a little girl, like, she was like maybe like 12, like I don't know, with a full like lace front and a part and everything, like a wavy, very high quality, very well made, like somebody else's fucking hair on her head. And I'm like, I thought little girls had edges. And I guess little boys, what do they spend their money on? Like fucking video games and shit. I have been thinking of like, I've been trying to stop myself from buying a PlayStation 4. I want to play that Death Stranded game, but I hate video games. But I love The Walking Dead, so I love that guy in it. And then I love the apocalypse. I'm just like, come on, like come through. But I've been trying to stop myself from buying a PlayStation 4, and I think I'm going to stop myself. It's not that serious. I even bought like a really good Sims pack, and I played it like once because it was weird. Like I forget, like as a child, things. Like, I am in my dream. Today, we're going to talk about, like, the human, you know, our energy body and shit like that. Like, of course, we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about how you can direct your energy. And sometimes, you know, video games and things, they are meant to distract you. And that's fine. Like, having a distraction's good. Like, having this podcast is a distraction because I want to talk to somebody and I can't, so I'm talking to you, but I'm alone. But I just hope that you're listening and that you will maybe one day email me, host@centersun21.com with your comments, because I greatly appreciate you listening. Anyway, that was not a commercial, but that was brilliant though. Like bone apple teeth, tots and pears. Drake always talks about having sex with women, and though, you know, it makes me a little jealous because I am also sexually attracted to Drake, and that's fine. He can have sex with girls all he wants. Maybe he should, you know, probably hook up with a party planner. Maybe he should hook up with somebody that can help him, you know, make these encounters a little bit easier. Or maybe he already has done that and that's why he's being canceled. Maybe he should empower, instead of with his dick, with his charm, and to let him have, you know, maybe he'll have some fun in 2020. We'll see. Maybe that album's going to be lit. That album's going to be so lit. I love Drake. Every Drake album I've listened to for a minimum of 9 months, Drake and Beyonce are up there with that. Drake, Beyonce, and like Katy Perry and like Kiki Sheard. Like there's only a few people that I can like listen to for real, but I can't fuck with everybody because some people are homophobic. Like, how dare you, Jesus? How dare you, Jesus, be homophobic? And that's why we're here, because it's an iterative process of soul development. And, you know, I guess I have church hurt. That's what people would describe. People keep inviting me to their fucking church. I'm like, you have no idea. I have my own fucking church to like reconcile with. Like, I cannot. Like, I can't add more churches. Like, this is crazy. But Christianity in and of itself is fine, but it's not for me. So therefore, I want to dive deep into something that works for me, us, you, all of us. Thank you for listening. So let's get into it. Whatever party Drake was at on this Twitter thing, this Twitter rant that I'm going on right now, whatever party he was at, it must have been important. We have been obsessed with party culture. Everybody is like a beauty blogger, which I am fucking obsessed with. Like, I love it. Like, I love all of these things, but we have to recognize that's the part of being conscious, is like loving and consciousness are not necessarily the same thing. They can be separate. And I listened to a very good YouTube video that I will post on my blog, Dvaughan.org, DVAUGHN. I'll post a YouTube video about our energy body, because you exist on all levels at all times, and you always have been, and it's crazy, in heaven and in hell, apparently. And I don't know about the conventional way of thinking about heaven and hell, but we exist. There's always a up and down, you know, there's always a yin to our yang. So if we're in heaven, we're also in hell at the same time, which makes it neutral, which makes us supreme beings that cannot be contained in this physical reality. But Drake, in that moment, in that YouTube video, or in that Twitter video that I was talking about earlier, he was so awkward. I felt so bad. I'm like, we have to figure out how to balance this, because if Drake can succumb to the cancel party culture, then all of us are doomed. If the light skin poppy has to be awkward in public, and they were outdoors, it wasn't like it was like a private party or something. It was like a real like festival. Like, no one had any right of asking anybody who invited them. Like, it was that big, and there was a whole DJ and everything, but you could hear, it was so awkward. You could hear a mouse fart from 3 miles away. It was so sad. I felt so bad, but you know what? Be nicer to people, I guess. I don't know. And if you're going to be mean to somebody, be mean to motherfucking Colby Covington, who just got his whole motherfucking face knocked the fuck off. Like, his whole jaw came off. He fought Kamaru Usman. And, you know, under this whole guise of making America great again because he's an immigrant. I don't know. Like, why are we being so mean to each other? And, like, I'm throwing Abby Huntsman right now. I'm, like, giving Abby Huntsman tease, because can we all just get along? Like, I remember a time where, like, white people were not this racist. Like, how dare you? But it is what it is. God don't like ugly. And if we're supreme beings, then, like, I don't like ugly either. So get your life together. And today we're going to talk about like 5 key things that can help you get your life together, because 2020 is coming. Got to get your goals, get your vision board out, get your masking tape out, get your label maker out, get your things together, get your broom and your dustpan and shit. Or like me, I just went to Michael's and Walmart. I just saw a little girl in a wig. But before that, I went to Michael's. It was fucking packed, fucking pissed. I'm like, what the hell? I just want to leave. But then I was intrigued because they had 50 million things in that store. And I'm like, oh my God, I feel so inspired. And I accidentally bought $100 worth of painting supplies. And I'm not even a painter. That's how much my soul is like glowing, like my spirit. Like, once you kind of let society be society and you accept yourself, like, I don't even call myself an insomniac. I just sleep when I fucking can. You know, like, I'll sleep when I'm tired, and it works out. start accepting yourself, you start leaning into your crazy, and and it works out. It's so weird how life just works out when you are a light worker. You have to use the light inside of you. You don't, it's not that difficult, but Kamaru Usman, he inspired me. I just watched a little clip of him on YouTube as well, and he basically, he was like, I didn't have a game plan. I just prepared myself. I cometh prepared. And what you're not about to do is fake like I have no power, even though clearly I am expressing myself. So I wanted you to take it from Kamaru Usman. You don't have to have a game plan. Just create a structure of kind of just understand who you are and create your life around that. Structure your life around who you truly are, and you might win or you might be successful in your endeavors. And that is an example of like controlling your mind, because your mind is more than your brain. Your mind is your entire body. It's like this, there's a cloud, your aura, and it even extends a few feet in front of your body. Like you are a universe. And once you recognize that you can control this universe, which is also considered your mind, then you'll be successful in your endeavors. Even if it is a boxing match where you have to punch somebody in the face a certain number of times in order to win. So brutal. I can barely watch these things, but I was intrigued because his opponent, Colby Covington, is a MAGA bro, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a Republican, but what there is something wrong with is being so boisterous about it that you actually lose sight of the reasons for this structure of government, and it has nothing to do with citizenship status. And I didn't like the way that Colby Covington was using this whole Make America Great Again thing to contrast the fact that he was fighting a Muslim immigrant. In God's eyes, we are equal. So therefore, white supremacy, all of these things, y'all can be white supremacists all you want, but we're just going to continue showing you that it's not the best course of action. And it's in everyone's best interest to get along, truly. Honestly, truly. So we'll be here when you figure it out, but or when you need us, we'll be here, of course, because that's who the fuck we are, and that's how you should be. That's what love is. Unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of hating people, because hate, it's like it takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile. It takes more energy to hate your ass than to love you. So we might as well fucking just lean into it and accept it. So Colby Covington, I hope your jaw's okay, but I shared the fuck out of it on Twitter and I love it. I have like 200,000 views, like viral, bitch. Like we went viral on your fucking pain. Oh my God. But why would you brag? Like, that's why you don't brag about shit. That's why you have to get your shit together and make sure it don't stink, because a tree produces fruit effortlessly. You will bear fruit that you intend to bear. That's your purpose. You produce things, you express, you produce, you do things. Your fruit, your inspiration to young white men in America, is not going so well. And violence is clearly not the answer. And so I'm going to share with you 5 things that I just want you to focus on. And, to get your shit together so you don't end up like Colby Covington with your whole jaw broken. Or motherfucking Drake looking very awkward at parties. Like, how do you avoid these things? Well, it's about setting a good foundation, and it starts with you. It starts with your consciousness, because your mind and your body are what? Separate. Not the same, but they are similar, but they're not the same thing. So number 1, I want to share with you a few things to consider. Think of yourself, think of your mind, or think of society as a, kind of like, think of like the collective. Let's start at like a big picture. Like, think of the globe, and there's so many billions of people, or whatever it is, however many people there are a lot of them. Think of them, and think of all the moving parts it takes for like a nation to work, or the United Nations to work, or these systems of government to work. It takes a lot of people to wake up every day and to agree to do these sets of actions every day. And each individual person has their place and their own thoughts and their own motivations, and things sometimes go well and sometimes they go badly. And when you kind of think of that on a smaller scale, then you have a city with people, and cities interact with other cities, and cities interact with other nations and stuff like that, and other groups, larger groups of people. And you start to see that network creating, a creation of a network where there's roads and bridges and railways and power lines and air routes and seaway. There's all kind of shit going on. Submarines and shit. There's all kind of shit going on. All these billions and trillions of parts. Well, that same thing is happening inside of you on the molecular level as well. And all your proteins and your atoms and your molecules and your sugars and your fats and all that shit is working together, and it's creating this experience that is you right now, like listening to me, and it's being like, yeah, bitch. It's making a whole record of what you're experiencing right this moment. And then it is checking it against the moment before, and the moment before that, and the moment before that. And then it's making decisions to help perpetuate its survival in the future, in future moments. And all of this is working together. And then on some other dimension, like there's some other shit going on that you don't even understand, these unknown forces that are going on, but you know that they're there because you keep getting evidence that it's there. And how do you know anything is true? How do you even confirm that your experience is true? Well, you look to nature. That is our only hope. That is our only way of confirming anything, because everything is like a microcosm of something bigger. Like everything is a template or a pattern. And that's how we know, because we can look at the structure of our universe and we can see the patterns. So we look for patterns. And today we're looking for patterns. There are 5 things that you have to realize. Okay. And the first thing I want you to kind of recognize or realize is, what kind of communicator are you? Signals, sending and receiving signals is something that's very natural. And our eyeballs are, in our frontal lobe, in front of our frontal lobe, and we see, and it kind of like we have our eyes and our nose and our mouth, and we speak and we hear and we smell and we move and do all these things. And even our thought forms have a charge, and they move through space and they affect other people, and our auras interact with each other. And we have evidence, we have scientific evidence of all of this through functional MRIs and different kinds of brain scans, and even EKG machines. Just looking at bioelectricity, or the charge that is generated by our cells. Like, it's fucking crazy. We're conductors because we're water, and we breathe water. What kind of communicator are you? As you probably hear, I'm a talker. And God made me handsome too, and tall, and smart. So, but the best way, is communicating. The best way that I communicate, is through audio. And I'm a singer, and I love listening to people, and that's what I like. And so other people might write better. Some people might write really great poetry and know how to rhyme things and know how to seduce people with words and shit like that. So What kind of communicator are you? Are you a leader? Are you an organizer? Like, I have a lot of friends who just like take the lead and just like manage all the vacations and manage all that shit. And they do all this kind of shit. And they communicate through actions and through organization and putting pieces together. Or are you a nurturer? Are you better at feelings and like hugging people and making people feel at home and making people live longer because you decrease their stress innately? I want you to figure out the kind of communicator that you are, is because we are working together as a symphony. And you know what kind of communicator you are because you felt the energy your entire life from birth to now. You know how it feels. You know how you feel when you walk in a room. How do you communicate when you walk in a room? Do you communicate with your feelings, with your actions, or your words? Only you know. Only you know. You cannot be replicated. You cannot be duplicated. You cannot be copied or remixed or anything. You are an original. So you must fill your physical space, literally, with the things that make you feel ready. Like ready to get up and go in the morning. I love like a minimal design. Like, I would rather have less things. Like, that makes me feel ready, is when I wake up in a cold, empty room. I don't know why, not really, but not cold and not empty, but like colder and emptier than the normal person would like. But that is because my mind is already so active. I need less things, not more. Less things make me feel ready. Do bright colors make you feel better or ready? You know, like, you have to fill your space with the things that communicate to you. So how do you communicate to other people, and what communicates to you? And once you kind of figure that out, you'll realize that you are so unique. You're more unique. Like, it's such a code. You're a enigma. You're like a puzzle. I don't know. But when you eliminate unnecessary items from your physical space, you'll see and hear your thoughts change. And that's why I want you to figure out what kind of communicator you are, and then what in your space communicates to you, because then your thoughts and your motivations and all that kind of stuff, that stuff will change. So number 2, going along similar lines of physical space, you need to choose people, or you need to choose to interact with people, and people, you know, family, close friends. Those people need to have the ability to add value to your existence, and not like monetary value or material value, but you know what I mean. This is not a money material show. This is a spirituality show. This is about spirit and souls and things. So you know what I'm talking about on a spiritual level. And that requires you to go deeper than the superficial connections that you make about liking somebody or loving somebody or being attracted to somebody. You have to make a decision based on who perpetuates your survival. And you know that because you do that by avoiding disharmony with that. You are not disharmonious with somebody that perpetuates your survival. And if you are disharmonious with them, you probably should figure it out or move along. And you should know when a relationship should be ended rather. It's okay to end relationships, and it's okay to restart them, start them, pause them, all that kind of stuff. You're a human. Don't forget that. At the end of the day, you are a human, so you are afforded the grace of messy emotions. But it is good to be right the first time, so choose wisely. Your physical space and the people that inhabit your physical space are probably the most important. That, outside of yourself, like, because we talking about the whole mind, so the physical space is included in this. Number 3. Let's go inside of the mind. So our mind extends out into our physical space, and then we have our skin, and then we have the inside of our mind and our brain, and then we go inside of that mind. There's dimensions and all that kind of stuff, but there's this little thing called the voice in your head, or your self-talk. Another very strong consideration that I want you to make. Self-talk is more valuable than you are presently realizing. Not you. Well, it is you. It's hard to explain. It is you, but it could be not you also. So, fix how you talk to yourself, like putting yourself down, and then once you start consciously stop putting yourself down, you'll start realizing where the inclination to do so came from in the first place. If you think of your brain, like if you look at it like a brain that's been autopsied or whatever it is, you take it out of the skull, it's all folded up. It's like this weird folded up piece of meat. It's so fucking weird, but you could unfold it and it'd be flat. Like it's like balled up and folded, and it exists in lobes. And those lobes are basically suspended in space. Your brain cells are basically suspended in space, and they're upheld by unknown forces. So those parts of the brain that are suspended in space are talking to each other through unknown forces, and literally you're talking to your parts of your brain. So as the stuff goes through your brain and through your body, because that's just the central part. That's the graphics and the central processing unit of your computer. Projector, it's the screen. It's the interface through which you like press your buttons and shit. But it's talking to itself. So once you kind of realize that the thoughts in the back of your head are literally in the back of your head, and your concentration in the front of your head is literally in the front of your head, and the headache that you experience is because something's moving. There's pressure and stuff that's changing and moving. Once you start realizing that, you'll start realizing that all of this brain activity is all working simultaneously and has simultaneous value. And the strength of each signal is equal. So love and anger and all that stuff, there is nothing that is less than itself. So you move through life, you move through Twitter, you see Drake being dragged, all that kind of stuff. Let's get to number 4. Because I've been looking for a birth chart. Somebody suggested a birth chart app on my phone. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not paying $5 for nothing. Like, nah, bitch. Like, I cannot even be sure you're telling me the right thing. So why am I even interested in astrology? Like, why do I care? Why do you even care about astrology? Who cares if you're a Leo? Why is it important? Well, astrology it can be used as a guide. And humans have used it as like basically like a chaperone, but it's like a chaperone, but it's become such an obsession that people forget that you ultimately have control. So it's a guide, but there's always a larger context. There's always something deeper. There's always a bigger context. It's just a microcosm of something bigger. So those unknown forces are guiding humanity into awareness. So I believe that astrology is that thing that people, it's like the gag, like, you thought it was something, but it's not. And I believe 2020 will reveal the purpose of our spirit. And it'll reveal the purpose of your spirit's iterative process of development. 2020 is going to be an enlightening year for you. There's going to be a lot of wisdom of self. Okay. Each step in your process is processed in equal measure. So there's going to be a convergence of your old self and your new self. There's going to be balance. There's going to be synthesis. So get ready to face your demons, because it's like your higher self is converging with your lower self, and not lower self as in you're bad or, whatever. It's just like your immature version of yourself, but they're all equal. They all need it to happen. And they're just different aspects of your mind. So think of it as your old self and your new self. Like, oh, if I knew then what I know now, like, you're not any dumber. You just didn't know. You're just immature. So number 5, recognize your ability to critically analyze social constructs. So we're going back outside of ourselves. And it's time to learn and unlearn social programming. Recognizing that, you might love Real Housewives of Atlanta, but ultimately it's about division and fighting and arguing. And is it the best thing for your development? How can you become a social programmer? How can you start to create content and talk and create interactions with people through talking and through communicating with them? How can you start to change the narrative from let's be obsessed with party culture and like superficial things? Like, how can we change this narrative to unity and success and abundance and love and all of those good things that they teach you in therapy? 2020 is going to be about finding value in the societal norms, but realizing that you are a supreme being. You cannot be contained in this physical reality, and that you are so unique that your uniqueness can harmonize with other beings, other places, persons, things. You have to find that thing. You have to find those people. You have to find those places that harmonize with your spirit. Your inability to be authentic will hold you back. What are you doing faking? Because I can see right through it. It's so weird. People try me all the time. I'm just like, you know what? This is not about me at all. This is about you. And I can see the pain on your face, but you're smiling and it's weird and it's not worth it. It's time to start controlling your own mind, because when you're not paying attention, the CIA can use mind control. All the waves, all the 3G waves or whatever the hell is going on. But, how do you ascend? How do you get to the place where you're just like, I'm conscious. I'm the observer. I have control. I am in this bitch. Like, yes, honey. Consciousness is merely an indication that you are a light worker, or you have the ability to use light to manipulate the world. When I say light, I don't mean white light or yellow light. I mean all light. All forms of matter are light. And you have the ability to affect it. We have proof, even with our dumb science that we have now with our machines, we can prove that our thoughts have a weight to them. Our thoughts are electrical activity. Therefore, even our thoughts are technically light. So technically, you just woke up in this bitch as a light worker. You just got to realize that shit. God damn it. Realize it. I'm just playing. But consciousness is an indication that you're a light being. And your physical emotions indicate your level of full control. So you have to master you just have to start being conscious of it. That's all. Everything will fall in place. 2020 is that year. 2020 is that girl. And, somebody send this to Drake, please. I guarantee, if he enacts some of these ideals and stop, showing up to parties, inviting himself, because he'll realize that it's not even important at all because he is Drake. Like, come on. Like, and I don't think anybody should be treating him bad. I really don't. But I mean, if he wants a secret boyfriend, call me. Have a great day.